He doesn't want. I'll tell you what. The one thing he doesn't want to do is fight Mike.
No.
Yeah, he wants to fight Mike. I think.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't give a if he's 55. That's still Mike Tyson.
Mike's in good shape too.
Oh my God.
Mike trains every.
Amid the rising tensions surrounding the upcoming clash between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, Joe Rogan has issued a strong and urgent warning. Known for speaking his mind without hesitation, Rogan has taken a firm stance and is calling on Jake Paul to pull out of the fight against Tyson.
He trains with Rafael Cordero, who's a legend in MMA. He runs King's Mixed Martial Arts. And Rafael is a world-renowned trainer. When you see him holding the mitts for Tyson, and Tyson smashing the mitts, like, Jesus, that guy can still fuck you up.
Meanwhile, Tyson is working tirelessly to get ready for his upcoming showdown with Jake Paul. He recently took the opportunity to share highlights from his 4th training session with his followers on X, giving fans a glimpse into his preparation.
Day 4, it was okay, but you don't know what you got in store, baby. You got to face the God of War. And get ready, baby. Fire in the house.
As Mike Tyson steps onto the platform, his presence alone commands attention and respect. The former heavyweight champion radiates an aura of power and intimidation, and his intense stare sends a clear message of unwavering focus and determination.
One more.
Meanwhile, Patrick Beverley, the former teammate of LeBron James and now a guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, issued a warning to Jake Paul. His caution came after watching Tyson's latest training footage, which left him both impressed and concerned. Beverley couldn't believe that Paul would step into the ring with one of the hardest hitters in boxing history, calling it astonishing that anyone would take on Tyson. He even tweeted, "Man, y'all leave this man alone." In a similar vein, Paul George has also shared his prediction for who will win the upcoming bout.
It don't matter. Mike ain't scared to get hit.
I think it matters if Mike goes out there and he's really trying to knock him out. Like, is he gonna? I hope he doesn't go out there.
I think he's going to do that. I think that's what he's going to do.
It's going to make for great entertainment for sure.
Paul George has confidently predicted that Mike Tyson will defeat Jake Paul. He argued that the age difference doesn't matter because Tyson is still facing a trained boxer, not an MMA fighter, wrestler, or entertainer. "I don't care about the age gap," George said. "He's fighting a boxer. It doesn't matter." Mike isn't scared to take a hit. George isn't the only NBA star to share his opinion on the fight. Gilbert Arenas also believes Tyson will prevail, insisting that the only way Paul could win is if Tyson intentionally takes a dive. On his podcast, Arenas suggested that one clean punch from Tyson would end the fight, saying that Paul simply isn't built to withstand that kind of power. He even hinted that the whole matchup might be staged, saying, "If you even last, we already know it's scripted." In the world of combat sports, UFC legend Henry Cejudo recently launched a new podcast with fellow icon Kamaru Usman, and in a recent episode he hinted at the massive payday Tyson could be receiving. He praised Tyson and suggested that the fight would likely offer a substantial financial reward. Since the announcement, fans have been trying to estimate how much each fighter will earn from Netflix. While the exact figures are still unconfirmed, many believe the platform stands to profit massively from the event. Cejudo speculated that Tyson could earn around $20 million, noting the age gap between the fighters, Tyson at 57 and Paul at 27. Although both fighters are expected to receive 8-figure paydays, the amounts might not reach the astronomical sums some people expect. After all, even when Tyson faced semi-professional opponents in the past, he still attracted enormous attention and earned over $100 million for his biggest fights.
I like it, Kamaru. I don't like it, man.
I agree. I feel like I understand wanting to be famous, and I understand building yourself, and I understand wanting to be a boxer as well, and being a professional.
On his Pound for Pound podcast, Kamaru Usman, known as the Nigerian Nightmare, didn't hold back when discussing Jake Paul's decision to fight Mike Tyson. He argued that someone should be guiding Paul's career, questioning whether Paul wants to be taken seriously as a boxer or simply remain a famous YouTuber who dabbled in boxing. Usman acknowledged Paul's talent and potential to improve, but he questioned the price Paul expects to pay for respect from professional fighters like himself. "I do think he's talented, and I do think Jake Paul can get good at boxing," Usman said, "but it's at what cost do you expect me as a professional fighter to respect you for this?" Meanwhile, comedian and actor Andrew Schultz offered his own perspective, suggesting the Tyson-Paul fight could break all previous viewership records. Speaking on his YouTube show, Brilliant Idiots, Schultz argued that the matchup has the potential to become the biggest boxing event ever, largely because it will be streamed on Netflix. He pointed out that the fight will be incredibly accessible, saying it's easy to watch from anywhere in the world as long as you have Netflix. Schultz also highlighted that Netflix's entry into live combat sports could attract even casual viewers who don't usually follow boxing, possibly pushing the event into record-breaking territory. Among those caught up in the excitement was former boxing trainer Dewey Cooper, who admitted he was immediately struck by two simple words when he first heard the announcement.
Emotions. I brought guys for Jake Paul to spar when he were getting ready for Nate Robinson and Ben Askren. I've seen him in the gym a lot. I used to be BJ Flores' coach, his coach at those times. So I was in the gym with them a lot. By the way, real cool guy. Nothing like the people probably would think.
Cooper explained that he spent a lot of time around Jake Paul at the gym while he was coaching BJ Flores, who served as Paul's trainer at the time. He described Paul as genuinely respectful and down-to-earth, challenging the common perception some people may have of him. Cooper also shared that he has known Mike Tyson since the 1990s and spoke highly of him, calling Tyson an incredible person who has made a positive impact on their team. Because of his connections to both fighters, Cooper said the situation feels especially sensitive for him.
I've been knowing Mike Tyson since the 90s. Mike's an awesome guy, incredible guy. He's helped our team. So it's a sensitive situation for me at 58. The way Mike looks in the pads and everything, he can still do it.
Cooper also pointed out that Tyson's mindset is heavily shaped by his age, and that the financial incentive is likely too strong for him to ignore. He noted that Tyson still looks sharp in training and is clearly capable of competing, but the real question is whether he will commit to a full, serious training camp and take Jake Paul seriously. Cooper wondered if Paul can motivate Tyson enough to bring his A game. If he can, Cooper believes the fight could be dangerous for Paul. If not, it could give Paul a chance to beat a boxing legend. Cooper admitted he would prefer to see Paul face younger opponents, such as a rematch with Tommy Fury, rather than taking on Tyson. Still, he acknowledged the huge public interest and box office potential of a Tyson matchup. I'd rather Jake Paul fight some young boxers, Cooper said, have a rematch with Tommy Fury or something like that, versus Mike Tyson. But I understand it's going to be a big box office and people are going to be excited about it. He added that if the public wants the fight and both fighters are willing, then it should go ahead. I just hope both fighters are okay, Cooper said. It's a high age to be fighting a younger guy, but if the world wants to see it and both men are willing, let's do it. We'll see what happens. Similarly, UFC legend Daniel Cormier offered a blunt opinion on the matchup during a conversation with former UFC welterweight contender Ben Askren. Cormier argued that Paul is in a no-win situation, saying that if Paul simply dominates Tyson, it could damage his credibility. He criticized the bout, suggesting Paul may not have fully thought through the consequences of taking this fight.
Somebody was like, would you wrestle Kyle Snyder for charity? I'm like, no, he's going to beat the brakes off of me. He won't play with me. He won't give me anything to make me feel good about this. He's gonna beat the shit out.
Cormier argues that Jake Paul is trapped in a lose-lose scenario. He suggested that Paul may not have fully considered the implications of taking this fight. If Paul simply dominates Tyson, Cormier believes the backlash will be intense. If you just go out there and beat Mike Tyson up, people are going to be furious, he said. Askren, who lost to Paul in the first round, agreed with that viewpoint, admitting that it could look disrespectful despite being a fight. Cormier then went on to say that respect might not be the best approach in this matchup. He warned that if Tyson tires and starts performing poorly, and Paul begins to icily pick him apart, viewers could feel let down by the event. If Tyson starts fading and looks bad, and Paul is just dismantling him, people will start saying this pay-per-view wasn't worth it, Cormier explained. He even suggested that an impressive knockout from Paul could severely damage Tyson's legacy, asking rhetorically, "Why am I watching this? This is awful." The age gap is a major factor here. Paul is 30 years younger and has 6 knockouts on his professional record. Cormier believes that if Paul manages to knock Tyson out, it could signal the end of Tyson's era in boxing. Adding to the debate, rising boxer Neeraj Godnow, signed with Most Valuable Promotions, shared his prediction in a recent interview. Despite his ongoing feud with Jake Paul's team, God sided with Paul, while still praising Tyson's legacy. He acknowledged that Tyson's skills are unmatched, calling him a hero and a true legend. But he also argued that Paul is at his peak, young and improving. Jake Paul is in his prime, God said. Tyson has been out of boxing for a long time. No one can match Tyson's skills, but Paul is young and training hard. The age factor matters, and I think Paul has a better chance. God, who hasn't fought since last May, also hinted that he hopes his next opponent will be Jake Paul. He stated confidently that he believes he could be the one to defeat him, saying, "Only I will break Jake Paul." Meanwhile, Joe Rogan remains convinced that Tyson still has the ability to dismantle Paul. On his podcast, Rogan urged people to look past Paul's YouTube background and evaluate his boxing ability. He highlighted Paul's performance against Tommy Fury as evidence that Paul can compete at a high level, saying the fight could have gone to a split decision. Rogan dismissed concerns about Tyson's age, insisting that even at 55, Tyson is still dangerous. He pointed to Tyson's training with legendary coach Rafael Cordero and described the intensity of watching Tyson hit the pads. "I don't care that he's 55, Rogan said. "That's still Mike Tyson. He trains with a top coach, and when you see him hitting the mitts, you know he can still hurt you." Rogan also emphasized modern training advantages, such as hormone therapy, vitamins, and advanced recovery methods like electrical muscle stimulation. He believes these tools could help Tyson stay in top condition. He added that during Tyson's training for the Roy Jones Jr. fight, they used cutting-edge science and training methods. Rogan predicted that Paul will have a moment of realization in the ring when he sees Tyson's classic style, his speed and power, even at an advanced age. Paul will look over and realize, this is really Mike Tyson. Rogan said, "The power is the last thing to go, and the speed is still there. It's terrifying." He also speculated that Tyson might have avoided headshots against Roy Jones Jr., focusing mainly on body shots and jabs. It looked like they had some agreement where Tyson wasn't going to go for the face, Rogan suggested, adding that most of Tyson's power shots were aimed at the body. But as the fight approaches, many remain skeptical about whether it will actually happen. Critics are already questioning whether the bout will ever be finalized. And one of the loudest doubts comes from former world champion Shawn Porter, who has publicly questioned whether Paul will truly face Tyson on July 20th.
When his opponent was walking out to the ring, I looked in dude's face and I was like, yo, he got that face like he know what he's supposed to do tonight. He's supposed to find somewhere on this mat to lay down, and when that perfect punch is thrown, he gonna lay down. And
that's what you meant?
That's exactly what I
Porter made his doubts very clear on his podcast. He said, "I'm not excited, and that's why I don't think the fight is happening." Porter explained that a fight of this magnitude cannot be put together in just 4 or 5 days, implying that the timeline simply doesn't add up. He also shared his lack of enthusiasm for the much-hyped Tyson vs. Paul showdown, standing out among fans and pundits for his belief that the event may be more of a spectacle than a genuine fight.
And I'm not saying from a standpoint of him taking money to take a dive. I just saying this dude look like he know what his job is. He's supposed to find somewhere to lay down on this canvas. And when that punch is thrown, he's supposed to lay.
Porter's skepticism comes from how quickly the match was announced just 5 days after Jake Paul's previous fight. He believes there wasn't enough time for proper negotiations or planning, and he questioned why Paul never hinted at such a huge event beforehand. Porter pointed out that if the fight had been in the works, Paul would have likely mentioned it around the time of his last bout, especially since that fight ended in a way that left fans underwhelmed. According to Porter, Paul would have needed to build excitement and momentum, but there was no indication that a major matchup like this was being planned. He also questioned the secrecy around any pre-existing discussions, arguing that if such talks existed, Paul would have made them public sooner. Porter doubts that a fight of this magnitude could be finalized in just 4 or 5 days. On the other side, Paul has been pushing the fight's hype every day. But if it falls through, it would be a massive disappointment for boxing fans. Amidst the rumors about unusual rules, Paul firmly denied any misinformation, calling those who believed it idiots and insisting that he would never let his fans down by wearing headgear in such a high-profile fight. His manager echoed the same sentiment, dismissing the rumors on Instagram. UFC legend Chuck Liddell also weighed in, claiming Tyson still has the power to end the fight with one punch. Liddell warned Paul to stay protected, saying that Tyson's power is the last thing to go, and that if Tyson lands cleanly, it's over instantly.
I think Tyson has a chance. Jake, they're saying, is the favorite.
Yeah, if Tyson's taking a dive, it's the favorite. But if Tyson hits him, it's over.
So,
hey, by the way, last thing to go is power.
Interesting.
Last thing to go is power.
On the other side, WBO welterweight champion Tim Chu shared his views on the upcoming Paul vs. Tyson matchup. Chu said the fight will draw massive attention to the sport, and he admitted he grew up watching Tyson's legendary bouts. While he respects what Jake Paul has been doing in boxing, Chu expressed concern for Tyson's safety, saying he hopes the former heavyweight champion doesn't get hurt. He also admitted that, despite appreciating Paul's efforts, he finds it strange that Paul would choose to fight Tyson, and added that it's not something he would do himself. Chu concluded by acknowledging the evolving nature of the sport and the high level of curiosity surrounding the event. Whether the fight will meet the huge expectations or end up disappointing fans remains uncertain, but the sheer amount of discussion around it shows just how big the matchup has become in today's cultural conversation. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos.